The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by the Lake House Restaurant in Richfield Springs.
Time now for News Talk. Patient advocate Dr. Stephen Cusins live in studio today. He's here to talk about the new high blood pressure criteria. And for those that maybe don't know, it's a little bit startling because all of a sudden, a lot more people seem to have high blood pressure now, right?
On November 16th, 30% of Americans had a diagnosis of hypertension. When we woke up on the 17th, 50% of Americans were now diagnosed as hypertension because they moved the goalpost down. 120 is always normal, but it was always thought that 130 was normal. Even 140 was, okay, it's pre-hypertension, let's keep an eye on these people.
Let's watch the diet, let's do all the things we're supposed to, get some exercise, whatnot.
Right.
Now they've moved it to where?
120, you go over 120, you're hypertensive.
Wow. That's kind of startling.
Well, the higher your blood pressure, the higher your risk, but it's not like a straight line taking off. It's a gradual curve moving up. So if your blood pressure is a little high, your risks do not go up that much. And what does it mean when you get a diagnosis of blood pressure elevation? There are risk calculators. I plugged myself into a risk calculator yesterday. I put in all my values, my blood pressure, and I found out my 10-year risk of having a heart attack, which is something like 7%, which is pretty good for a guy my age.
Sure.
Which means that I'll hit close to 80 with a 93% chance of not having any trouble. Good news. Then I did it again, but I plugged in a blood pressure of 130. And all of a sudden the recommendation was you should be on cholesterol-lowering medications, you should be on aspirin, and congratulations, you're hypertensive.
With just 10 points.
10 points. I was still healthy. With the 10 points, my risk of a heart attack or some sort of cardiovascular accident over the next 10 years was like 11%.
Okay.
So I had an 89% chance of hitting 79 or 80 in good shape.
Right.
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, because I'm hypertensive, because I take aspirin, and because I'm on a statin, guess what happens when you go to a doctor? Gee, Steve, you've got high blood pressure, you're taking medicines for cholesterol, you're on aspirin to prevent a heart attack, maybe we should do a stress test.
Then you're doing things.
And then all of a sudden you're down that slippery slope. So you're going for the stress test, it looks a little funny, well maybe we should do a CT angiogram. Oh, there's a 60% area, that's not bad, but we should, with an abundance of caution, let's do a catheterization. And during the catheterization...
Now, you're adding to procedures, you're adding to medicine, you're adding to all when normally...
All you did was just wake up on the 17th.
All right, so I got about 30 seconds left. What do you do to all this? Do you stay proactive with your doctor and say, whoa, look, can we slow down a little?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think that the people who did it were great, good spirits, interest for the public health. But basically these guidelines have historically been shown to have industry contamination, conflicts of interest, and have shown in later years to have been incorrect. Nonetheless, if I was 130, I wouldn't do a thing. I'd listen to the doctor, I'd exercise, I'd diet, and we know that doesn't work on most people. But if I was 140, there I might say, okay, what do you got for me?
Gotcha. All sounds good. Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Merry Christmas.
See you in January. More news coming up after the break. Stay with us.